War Eagle, I'm Andy Burcham, voice of the Auburn Tigers. Today we come to you from the office of Auburn football coach Gus Malzahn, and an interesting opportunity to get to spend some time with the Auburn football coach today, just to talk about what life is like for the last 3 weeks and as we look to the future. Good to see you.
Good to be here.
Give us just an update right off the bat about the family and how you guys are doing through all this.
Yeah, of course we're going on week 3 of being out on our own. Me and Christy, we've had the girls there for about half the time with our 2 grandsons, which that's a true blessing to be able to spend time with them, and really just getting used to working from home. Setting up staff meetings from home. We're meeting Mondays and Fridays with our staff. And then, of course, we're recruiting every day. And in the meantime, we're talking to our players on a daily basis, too. So really, more than anything, it's just getting in that routine of something new, which is definitely different, to be at home. You're talking about a guy that's been, coaching for 30 years, and you get up here at 6 o'clock and you don't leave, till late at night, and then you're at home. And it's been an adjustment. There's no doubt about that.
I was going to say, as long as I've known you, you've always struck me as being very routine oriented. Yeah. So if we were in the middle of spring practice right now, on a Monday, what would this day be like for you, and how much have you had to change that with everything that's going on?
You're exactly right. I mean, this would be right at the midpoint of spring practice, and we'd be prepared for a practice today, and everything that leads up to that, and of course grading practice afterwards, and then getting ready for an off day on Tuesday. So yeah, there's no doubt. It's just having to get used to a new routine. That's really the biggest difference for me right now.
How long did that take you to find that new
I'm still
routine?
working on it. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, it's a little bit more natural today than it was 2 Mondays ago,
right.
But it's still something new. And then I think you gotta, you're finding out new information every day, whether it's, through the president or the university or the SEC office. So, yes, there's a routine now, but you have to be able to adjust. And we've been adjusting, on a weekly basis, sometimes on a daily basis.
We're all learning what Zoom meetings all about.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt. I'm not a big technology guy, but now I'm getting where I can operate a staff meeting on Zoom, getting more comfortable with it, more used to it, and it looks like we're going to be doing that a while. So just getting used to how to operate all that.
If you would talk about those staff meetings that you're having, what are you able to accomplish through these remote meetings with your staff at this point?
We're trying to keep things as normal as possible. So, we're meeting Monday at 9 a.m. just like we would if we were here, and just going down our list of the way we operate, trying to keep it the same. Then Fridays, we're meeting at 9 a.m. to just touching base again. And then we have a recruiting meeting for about an hour and a half afterwards. So just like we were together as far as that goes. And then the coaches, they have their own meetings with the players, during the week. But we're Monday and Friday as far as staff goes.
The communication with the team at this point, are you splitting it up? Yeah. Different guys have a different group of players that they're communicating with on a regular basis? Yeah,
what we've been doing so far is on Mondays, just going down to the team room and acting like our team's there, filming it, and just giving them weekly updates on how we're going to operate, things that, some safety measures that, from Dr. Goodlet about how some tips as far as that goes. And then we talk about the week, how we're going to operate. Coach Russell will get up, he'll talk about the expectations for that week, and then I'll end it with, just some things that, hopefully can help our guys. So we've been doing video conferences on Monday, and so far that's worked well.
This is an important day with regard to Auburn and what you call installs with your team. How is all of this going to work? What do you hope to accomplish?
So today's the first day that we can actually have installs, through Zoom with our players. So I know our coordinators are very excited. I think our players are too. So we're going to operate on Mondays and Wednesdays with install with our coordinators. Then we were going to let our position coaches go 30 minutes on Thursdays just to kind of wrap everything up and anything that goes with that. So we're very excited that we're able to actually have installs, talk football with our players. That way when they get back, we can hit the ground running.
Without giving away too much, can you kind of take us behind the scene? What does that mean for the average football fan, the Auburn football fan out there? What is an install? What are you talking about?
Yeah, so an install is, if we were going to practice tomorrow,
okay,
it would be day one install. So everything that we would cover in that meeting, we're going to cover with our players. We just won't be able to practice the next day. So, just to get them in a routine, get used to hearing their assignment, what their expectations are, and on their own, they can go out and do some of the drills that go with it. So, we'll install it just like it's our 15-day practice during the spring. So that's the way our coordinators will start. And of course, today will be day one.
How have you handled workouts? Physical workouts and keeping guys in shape, trying to get them strong as much as you can right now.
That's been one of the biggest challenges because, their weight rooms are shut down. So Coach Russell does a super job, and it's been body weight drills, it's been running, and of course we're making sure the social distancing, you're by yourself, you're doing it, you're operating. And so each week, Coach Russell on Monday is giving them the plan. And, so we'll continue that until weight rooms open up and they're able to start working with free weights. Now, I will say this, there's some that do have some free weights at home, and we're flexible enough, within our plan with that.
From an academic side, they are student athletes. They, like everyone, are under remote instruction for the last week since coming back from what was spring break at that time. What is afforded to these players with regard to academic support through the athletic department here?
Well, so far so good. Our guys are off to a great start. The professors are reaching out to them. Everything is online. We're making sure that the technology piece is really locked in. Our routine with our players, our academic counselors are checking in with them. Our analysts and GAs are making sure that everything operates. And so far so good. Our guys, I'm real proud of them. They've done a great job as far as that, because you can't get behind academically. And of course, that being gone and they're all spread out, that's a stress for me. There's no doubt about that. But our guys have done a super job so far as the technology piece, making sure they're responsible. We got great kids, and it doesn't surprise me they're off to a great start. We just got to finish strong now.
The great kids part is something that going to the recruiting side, that's something you're looking for. You're looking obviously for a great football player, one, but you're also looking for the character in that individual. That doesn't change ever for Gus Malzahn, does it?
No, it doesn't. And really, that's who Auburn is too. We're looking for the best players that have the best characters. And I'm always, looking for people that care about their future. And so we don't just recruit anybody. We don't recruit knuckleheads. I always say that. And always give our players ownership too. They know these players when they come on campus and they're around them. They'll know them better than the coaches sometimes. So always give our players ownership. Hey, does he fit with us or does he not? And we're very selective on who we recruit. And so with that being said, a lot of times we may not be in the 1, 2, or 3 in the country recruiting, but usually we're going to be in the top 10. But we're very selective on who we recruit, and we're off to a really good start recruiting this year.
All right, how do you recruit during this time, Coach?
Yeah, you recruit on FaceTime. Every day, we're on the phone with recruits and their parents and everything that goes with it, and just really trying your best to develop a relationship, over a phone. Of course, FaceTime is a great way to do that. Our coaches have done a good job, and I'll say this: even before the break, we were in good shape as far as recruiting goes. We've really worked hard on the long-term relationships, and so our guys are in good shape. But we're on the phone 7 days a week recruiting.
Coach Pearl has always talked about how much. Matter of fact, he used this year's recruiting class. A couple of these guys they were in on before they became national style players, and one of the things they liked about Auburn, according to Coach Pearl, was the fact that these guys were there from the beginning. So that kind of goes back to what you're talking about, those long-term relationships, long-term recruits with these kids.
Yeah, our philosophy is that if we've got long-term relationships, we can compete with anybody in the country. So identifying them early, our staff, we have a lot of experience. The guys can project, they can evaluate, and they've done a good job of that. And we're in the same boat, and that's why that this break even though it's tough and challenging, there's some very good relationships built before that will help us get through this time.
When you look back at the 2019 season, what jumps from a positive standpoint and maybe from a disappointing standpoint, what jumps out to you?
Yeah, we were close. I mean, that's probably the number one thing, that we were close. We played the toughest schedule in college football. I know that's been talked about a lot, but our team grew. We obviously ended the season well, the last regular season. The bowl game wasn't what we wanted, but we got a lot of experience. We have a whole bunch of guys that just went through the toughest schedule in college football. They know what it feels like, and they're hungry. And so that's the biggest thing for me, is our players are hungry. I really think our staff is hungry. So we're ready to get back at this thing and get it going.
All right, you mentioned the staff. 3 new members on the staff. Coach Morris was with you through the bowl season, and now 2 brand new members whenever this season picks up. So if you would, let's talk about each individual that you have. Let's start with Coach Morris and what you've got there, and the fact that you've turned this off the offense over to him with regard to play calling at this point.
Well, Coach Morris, I truly trust him. I mean, he's one of the best offensive minds in all of college football, and he's proven, and he can develop players, develop quarterbacks, and really, since he's been here, it's been a load off me, and it's been a true blessing. So I'm just excited to have him get out on the practice field with our players, go to work. We got a chance to be really good on offense, not just next year, but really for the future. Obviously, with Bo Nix, he's got a great relationship with him. So really looking forward to seeing those guys work together.
When's the last time you had a sophomore starting quarterback?
Well, it's probably been a long time. It may be all the way back to high school. I don't know, but we're blessed to have Bo, and he's got a real year under his belt, and I know he's hungry.
Back to those high school days, that's where this relationship with Coach Morris began, correct?
Yeah, sure did. We've known each other for about 20 years. He was a high school coach in Texas, came to visit me in Arkansas. We started talking offense, and we've been friends ever since. And he's probably one of my best friends, if not my best friend in the business. So it's a real special time for me to be able to coach with him. We've talked about this for a long time, and now we're able to do it.
All right. Coach Pogue back on campus with you. That's a name that should be familiar to the Auburn family. If you would talk about what went into that hire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Coach Pogue's like family. When I was the offense coordinator here in 2009, the very first person I met was Al Pogue. He came up here. He's a high school coach at Carver in Montgomery, and had my book and said he read it. And so we started developing that relationship. He worked camps for me. He worked off the field for us before he went to Troy and then West Virginia. So we got a chance to hire him back. He's a great person, a great coach too. Really understands football, and he's a great recruiter. So he's got the total package, and we're tickled to death that he's with us.
Coach McNell comes in to take over on the offensive line. Did you have a relationship with him prior?
No, really didn't, but I was aware of him. Jack is a guy that is very well-rounded with great experience. He was in our league the last 3 years, did a very good job at Ole Miss. He's won a Super Bowl with the Giants in 2012, and Mitch Petrus, which played for him, actually played for me at Arkansas too. We had that connection. But he's really done a super job. Him and Chad have really hit it off. He's a great coach. He's a great recruiter. So our offensive line's in good hands for the future.
He comes from a coaching family too, doesn't he?
He sure does. With his dad. He's been a head coach too. He's been a head coach for 9 years at this level. I think that's important. And he's got a little background with being on the field with Doug Flutie. When he hit Phelan with Boston College. One of the best plays in the history of college football. And he was playing for his dad at that point.
That was the first when you and I saw each other. I don't remember where it was. But I said, great hire with Coach McNell. You said, he was at center. He was under center when Flutie hit Phelan against Miami.
That's a pretty big deal now. That's what stood out to me right when I first met him.
What do you want to see out of this staff, and especially the new guys integrating with the established coaching staff?
Well, when I look at our staff, really I see stability. And in our league, you don't see a lot of that. We're talking about our coordinators. just hired Chad. We talked about he's going to be here a long time, and then Kevin Steele been here for this will be his 5th year now to be a defense coordinator in this league, and then we just signed him to a 3-year deal. So our coordinators, Larry Porter, it's his 4th year. It really starts with those guys, and then our position coaches. I would compare the stability of our staff of any against any in our league, and we think that's really going to help us for the future, because I know recruits want to be coached by the guys that recruit them. That doesn't happen a whole lot of times in this league, but it's going to happen here at Auburn.
How important is that for you to have stability? Because, listen, on one hand, you want guys to be sought after to be head coaches because they're doing a good job with the position or as a coordinator. But you also want to try and keep that staff as stable as you possibly can.
There's no doubt. And I'm always wanting to help our coaches get to where they want to get. And we do have some young coaches that will be head coaches, there's no doubt. But right now they're happy. We've got a dream. We have goals of winning championships. And there's a lot of excitement with those guys. And so we're very blessed to have the staff we have.
This is going to be an interesting NFL draft coming up whenever it takes place, and it's going to have a unique Auburn flavor in this NFL draft coming up. Whether it's guys that are first-round picks or early day picks, or these guys that are going to get a chance as free agents to make there is such a long history of those Auburn guys that didn't get drafted and yet were able to play in a tremendous NFL career, and I think you've got that with this year's
we do. We think this year's class has a chance to be the most drafted in really Auburn history since they went to 7 rounds. And so very excited. Got some great football players that's going to the NFL, but they're even better people. And they're going to represent Auburn and their families the right way. And I'm just very proud of this group and looking forward to the draft.
Your job before you came to Auburn as a head coach was at Arkansas State. And that community, Jonesboro, has taken a great deal of a hit from just like everyone dealing with COVID-19, but also the tornado that ripped through that community. I know your heart must go out to those folks because, listen, it's your home state. It's where you've worked. You know the folks there in Jonesboro.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Me and Christy were on the phone with a lot of our friends, making sure they're okay, which they were. But it was a tough one. It tore the place up. And that's Jonesboro's a special place for me and Christy. We developed super friends while we were there. Just a great university with a great president, and our heart's thinking about them right now.
Speaking of the state of Arkansas, just recently inducted into the Arkansas State Sports Hall of Fame. What for someone that grew up in that state, that played ball in that state, then that coach, where this all started for you, what did it mean to go into that Hall of Fame?
It was real special. When I got the calls, one of the best calls I've gotten, it was really surreal. Because you grow up in the state and you have an idea that you're going to be a high school coach, and I was a high school coach at 3 different places, had a ball at all 3 places. We had some really good players, and then got a chance to coach at the university for 1 year, and then Arkansas State as a head coach. So got a chance to do a lot of it, and just to be recognized, it's a real surreal feeling. And I'm 54 years old now, and when you get older, you start kind of looking at the big picture. And it was really neat to look back, and really when I think of something like that, is just all the people that helped me along the way. The coaches, the great players that I've been blessed to coach, and it was just a really neat deal, and it was a really neat deal for our family too.
How was your speech?
It was fairly short, but it was more of just thinking. You get an opportunity to have something like that happen to you. You're thinking about everybody that helped you, and it was just more of a thankful that I had the opportunities I had with the people that I was able to do it with.
What was your first head coaching job, and what was that like at that point?
Yeah, I was a head coach at Hughes High School. It was my 2nd year to coach. I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I learned by making mistakes, but it was a perfect setting for me. It was a basketball school, and I also coached basketball, and we got the basketball players to come out and play football, and ended up making the state championship game, I guess the 4th year we were there, which was really one of my favorite years to coach, and some great memories.
As I recall, one of the times we were back at Arkansas in the last 4 or 5 years for a game, they had a reunion. Is that right? Maybe the timeline's wrong, but you've had an opportunity to be with that first school,
Yeah.
kind of a reunion
The
setting.
thing you're talking about is Springdale High School, right beside University of Arkansas, just right down the road. In 2005, we had a state championship team, and we were either ranked number 1 or number 2 in the country, and they had a reunion for that, and that was a really neat deal. I believe it was a 10-year reunion. So anytime you get a chance to see players and all that, and just great memories, that was a lot of fun.
A lot of work's being done in this community right now through the Pearl Family Foundation, the Hudson Family Foundation, Jason Duffner Foundation, the Malzahn Family Foundation. A lot of folks getting together, Church of the Highlands, the Dream Center. I mean, and that just scratches the surface on how this community, this Auburn Lee County community, has banded together through all of this.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We're just trying to, make sure that these kids that are used to eating at school are able to eat, and so we're all kind of pulling together to help with that. But there's all kinds of other things. You think about the first responders around here and the people working at the hospital. I mean, there's so many people that are just doing wonderful things for our community, and everything's kind of bonding together during this time.
A message to the Auburn family, Coach, and one of the things I know you want to talk about is to remain as positive as you possibly can at this time.
I think so. I think we all need to be thinking positive thoughts. I mean, anytime you're going through something new like we are, it's all different. We're out of our routines, but I really think we just need to be thinking positive. And then at the same time, if you're able to spend time with your family, I know for me, this is the longest I've spent with my family in a long time, and that's a true blessing. And really, I hope that once this is all over, we can look back and we can grow and we can be better people. Anytime you face adversity, it gives you the opportunity to grow. We're facing major adversity in a lot of different ways right now, and I'm just hopeful that our perspective when we get through this, it'll help everybody, live their life and the way they approach life.
When you are spending time with the family, and I know that it's still a busy day as far as recruiting and staff meetings, that type of thing. What does that look like at the Malzahn house?
Yeah, between recruiting calls and working, get a chance to spend time with my grandsons, which is always neat. And then, of course, at night, me and Christy are watching movies that we normally don't get a chance to, documentaries. Recently watched The Tiger King, which is a trip to watch. There's no doubt about that. But it's been interesting. Like I said, a new routine, getting used to new things, and so that's been interesting.
How old are the grandsons?
2 and 3.5 months.
Okay.
So I'm chasing the two-year-old around. He's got all kinds of energy now, and so I've been chasing him around the house a lot.
Thank you for taking time out and just to talk with the Auburn family. Wish you nothing but the best. Stay safe. Be well. Appreciate your time today. War Eagle.
War Eagle.